Hey folks, welcome back once again to Indaba Africa. This is Chris, and this video is an update on South Africa's wine industry with a slight ray of sunshine and perhaps a little bit of hope on the horizon, the near-term horizon, from two aspects. Number one, we've seen reports now across South Africa that advisors are continually advising South Africa's undemocratic, unelected, unaccountable, and capricious National Coronavirus Command Council that they should back down from the alcohol and tobacco bans and allow sales of both these products immediately. Will that actually happen? Well, that remains to be seen. We shall see. But in the meantime, some external forces are reaching out to help South Africa's beleaguered wine industry. Industry first came in trouble when the lockdown began in late March of 2020 with the government banning the transport of alcohol without even thinking about the consequences of that. Overnight, damaging the reputation of South Africa's wine industry for its export market, which makes up over half of its sales on an annual basis and a fair share of its profits. Now that was eventually overturned and transport was allowed, but the damage was done and the supply chain disrupted. And as I've mentioned here in my local store, there are no South African wines left because the supply chain was disrupted. Terrible consequences as suppliers reach out to other wine producing countries that proved to be reliable. Well, when alcohol ban was lifted, then people started buying alcohol again in South Africa, and the wines continued to be shipped abroad. But once again, it was a lockdown and has been now locked down for a month with no alcohol sales permitted in South Africa, and the damage having been done to the export market. But a small ray of sunlight from Naked Wines. Naked Wines is the online wine seller who work with independent winemakers from around the globe. Naked has created a COVID rescue program to help out beleaguered winemakers around the planet. It's a $5 million COVID-19 support fund to help independent winemakers. Now, the online wine trader is establishing the latest of its online crowdfunding programs, seeking 225 million British pounds, or 5.1 million rand, 293,000 US dollars. This is an effort to raise money for 6 winemakers in South Africa. 6 leading South African winemaking brands, including names like Richard Kershaw, Serena van Niekerk, and Rudy Schultz. Now, the crowdsourcing will take place on the 16th of August, in just a couple of days. Those who participate in the crowdsourcing through Naked Wines' online site will get access to a variety of wines from South Africa, including things like Chenin, Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, and they will save 26%. So basically paying wholesale price for the wine for 12 bottles. That'll get you. So that's quite a good deal, 12 bottles, including those types of wine. Now, Naked Wines, as I mentioned, is an online seller that has begun business back in 2008 in the United Kingdom. They've since branched out and also have sales in the United States and have a presence in many other places. The perverse part about all this, and I suppose the part about paying it back, is that Naked Wines has actually done quite well as a consequence of the lockdown around the world. Their sales are up 81% this year. That's quite impressive, but understandable given that people have been unable to go to stores and purchase alcohol. Getting it delivered through the mail is an efficient way to do it and a way to perhaps prevent yourself from being affected by this pandemic. Now, what's interesting for this particular crowdsourcing effort is that the 225,000 pounds they're hoping to raise by selling these 2,000 cases of wine includes a different set of winemakers in South Africa. Normally, through Naked Wines, there's just 2 sellers that are available. That would include Stephen and Jamie de Vet and Carmen Stevens. Carmen Stevens, of course, is famous for being South Africa's first black winemaker, and she's working for an American-owned vineyard in the Western Cape, but also making her own brands of wine at this point. And normally, through Naked Wines, you can get wines from either the de Vets or from Carmen Stevens. But with this crowdsourcing, an effort to help the wine industry in South Africa, Naked Wines now include others, and as I mentioned, that includes the likes of Richard Kershaw, Serena van Niekerk, and Rudy Schultz. So that's quite interesting. That gets a bit of more variety. And of course, the wines, once again, there's a selection including Chenin, Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir. And with your purchase through the site, you save 26%. Well, whatever folks want to do, whether they want to buy wine or not, this is a nice effort by someone outside South Africa to help South African vintners overcome the nonsensical alcohol ban that's taken place in South Africa and the devastating impact it has had on South Africa's wine industry, the long-term, enduring damage it's done to the export market. So this is quite impressive, and it's good to see that others are trying to help the wine industry. So folks, if you want to help out the South African wine industry survive this nonsense, you can participate in this. I'll leave the links to Naked Wines. I'll also leave the link for independent winemakers who are seeking assistance through the $5 million COVID-19 support fund from Naked Wines. They have an opportunity for you to apply for it on there and participate in this. So I'll make that available in the information below the video. Listen, folks, I've been talking about South Africa's wine industry throughout this lockdown since it began on March 27th, as well as the beer and the rest of the alcohol industry, and the damage it's done with over 1 million jobs and 3% of South Africa's GDP tied to alcohol in South Africa. This is a very devastating and foolish effort on the part of the African National Congress's National Coronavirus Command Council. Hopefully this will help in a small way, and hopefully the second piece of this relief will come this week with the government lifting the ban. Although I would not make any predictions, it is possible, and certainly a lot of talk, a lot of tongues wagging in South Africa, that the ban on tobacco and alcohol will be lifted. If it is, folks, watch the lines, watch the queues, because people are going to be queued up for a long time to go out and buy legitimate booze and legitimate smokes from retailers and wholesalers. And people will stock up because no one trusts the African National Congress. They've proven that they're not trustworthy when it comes to this pandemic. Well, folks, if you found this video to be interesting, thought-provoking, and informative in any way, and you're not a subscriber, I ask you to take a moment and subscribe to my channel by pushing that subscription button right down there. Be sure to toggle the bell icon so you get notified of my prepared videos like this, my live streams, and my special feature live streams where I interview guests. In addition, if you want to leave a comment behind, I'm happy to review comments. If it's appropriate, I'll answer. And finally, I ask that you smash the like button because likes drive viewership. I thank you for your time, for your patience, and your patronage. God bless, and good luck to South Africa's wine industry. Hang in there. We're rooting for you.